stumbling out of bed, and I still got you in my head from all those pretty words you said. It's like I'm wasted. Every time I see your face, I'm losing track of time and space. I don't know where I am. It's like I'm wasted, and I won't waste it. And I promise that I will stand by you forever. I can't get you out of my mind. I will follow you wherever, and I won't waste it.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Leanna. I make videos every week about my family. I have 4 children. I'm married to my husband Rob. He's upstairs. You can hear him banging around. We are currently remodeling what will be our master bathroom. It was actually more like a half bath when we moved in, but that's not what I'm here to talk to you guys about. I'm moving my camera because I'm feeling a little awkward. So, hi, how you doing? I'm gonna give you a little background. Me and my husband Rob, we have 4 kids, we homestead, we homeschool, and we're remodeling our farmhouse. In case you didn't get that this will be our master bath. I did a while back, I did a video about how my mother had lied to me about my father. If you want to know more, I'll leave a link up here. You can go watch that video, okay? If you're here for the Cliff Notes, basically what happened, I was lied to. I never knew who my father was. Never met him, never saw a picture, never even got a name for 18 plus years. Every time the subject was brought up, I was quickly shut down by either my mother or my grandmother. Told I was ungrateful, I'm a lunatic. We'll just go with that, okay? Anyways, flash forward. Here I am today. Well, about 2015, I want to say. So about 5 years ago. Maybe 2014. I don't remember when I originally took the test, but I took an Ancestry test. And I took it because I was hoping that it would be like what you see on the internet and on TV, where you take an Ancestry test and then, oh my God, I had a close match and it's my dad or it's my brother. That wasn't my story. Not even close. Just gonna let you know that. I got a rough estimate about my DNA, which I can do a video on that, but I hate doing those types of videos because anyone who's ever taken an Ancestry test or 23andMe test knows that those estimates change over time. Every time they do an update, every time they get a new cycle of new people in, your Ancestry DNA estimate's going to change. And it's because it's based on the current population and who you might be related to in that population. And it all changes and shifts over time. So it's not really useful. I found it entertaining to go over once or twice, maybe 50 times, but not really helpful. When I first took the test, I had all 4th, 5th, and like 6th cousin matches, no close relatives. My husband had a cousin, like a first cousin pop up when we first took the test, and that was about it, because we kind of took it fairly early. I don't know if it was that early, but whatever. We also took a 23andMe test around that time. Same situation, same occurrence, no close matches. Really frustrating. So that was not my story. So flash forward to 2020, and it was January of 2020, and I was in New Zealand, and I wanted to find answers on my dad. Well, COVID hit, and I made the video I showed you guys, and then shortly thereafter, which I made the video for you guys, I believe at the end of 2020. Wow, it's been a long time. And just basically explaining my plight. Well, around that time, at the end of 2020, I got in contact with a search angel. So over the next 6 months to a year, probably more like a year, we spent time searching for my dad, me and this search angel. And what you might not understand is a search angel is basically a person who volunteers their time to help other people solve genetic mysteries, like if they were adopted or they're missing, that they don't know who their father is. It happens a lot. So people online make Facebook groups, have websites, I'm sure there's Twitter groups and other groups. I just know I found her through Facebook. She volunteered to help me. 2 people volunteered to help me. The first lady was like, I already have a lot of people on my plate, but I can help you figure out, if you have any surnames, send them to me, and I can help you figure out who's on your mother's side and who's on your father's side based on these things. Now, I had already tried to start doing that because one feature that Ancestry has and 23andMe has is they will sort your matches based on mother or father's side if you have a parental figure who's taken the test. I did not have any either or take the test, so I didn't have that. So what I was trying to do is I was trying to find surnames I knew that were on my mother's side of the family and sort those into a group. Well, the lady came through and said, all right, that's awesome that you started that. Now I'm going to help you sort the rest based on what you started. And basically what she did, we looked at shared matches, and basically I would take the person who I knew had the same surname as my mother's side, and I would look at the shared matches, and then anybody who popped up under we both share those matches for the DNA matches, I would then filter them into my mother's side. And we did that for probably a couple of weeks. We had to sort through everybody because we wanted to make sure everybody was sorted that the current matches I had. And that over those couple of weeks, I met a second lady who ended up helping me with the rest of my search. So after we got everything sorted, mother's side, father's side, and we color coded them with the little tool they have where you can put color codes, and we would say these are mother's side, and we had like 3 or 4 colors for the mother's side, and then we had these are my father's side, and we ended up finding out that the closest possible father's side match was a man who was my 3rd cousin. So we were a little bit further ahead, but he wasn't very close in match, so it didn't help us a lot. So what we then did is we started making family trees based on the matches. I had 3 matches that we considered closer than the rest, and they were all, one was a 3rd cousin, one was a 4th cousin, and one was a 5th cousin. So not a lot of shared DNA, but they were the most DNA I shared with anyone on my father's side who had tested. So it was really frustrating because it was like, I don't know any names. I don't have any surnames. All I have is a location of where I was born, and that's about it. So what we then did was we went and we verified that these people lived in the location I was born, or if they had ever lived in the location I was born. And that takes a lot of Google foo, and so we found out that and Google foo and building ancestry trees. So basically we started building trees based on these 3 people. They each had their own separate tree. And then we were going through matches, and I think by the time we were done, the woman who was helping me had like 20 trees for me, and we had Excel documents, and I had like 10 trees that she had added me to, or that I had started myself. And what we did was we were looking for a common ancestor amongst these 3 people because they also shared each other as a match. So what we ended up doing is we ended up finding a common ancestor for 2 out of the 3 people. And that was the 3rd cousin and the 4th cousin. I'm sorry if you can hear the banging. There's not a lot I can do at this moment, but I have to get this video done. So it is what it is. All right. So anyways, so we found a shared ancestor for 2 of the 3 matches. Ideally, it would have been all 3 matches with 1 shared ancestor, but we hadn't gotten that far. So what we then did, we started building out the trees of this shared ancestry person. And we weren't even sure that I came on this branch, but we were hoping that if they shared that ancestor and that we were all related, that was the ancestor I shared with them. So we built out more trees on that. Now, the way we built out these trees is a lot of Google research, a lot of Facebook looking stuff up to verify, and a lot of a Facebook lookup to verify living ancestors. And then we would go cross-reference on 23andMe, My Genealogy. I'll leave a list. It was 5 websites. I'll leave a list in the description box of these websites where we would look at my DNA relatives based on those websites. And a lot of these websites we went to also had build your own tree features. We would cross-reference amongst the different websites. Ancestry was mainly where we built the trees, just to keep everything in the same location. We went off of hints that Ancestry gave us, and we also went off of verifying through research and paying attention to location. 2 out of the 3 on the trees. The third one, we ended up making a separate tree and then being able to find her, but we were trying to figure out how the tree we made for her connected to these 2 other people, because that would then give us the shared ancestry amongst the 3. We ended up having to build back a little further because it was a it was a 5th cousin, so we did have to build back a little further to find out how that person came into the mix. Once we did that, so we used this tool that helps you, basically it helps you theorize about where you fit in a tree. And it wasn't working because there was a lot of male matches that were possibilities, but we weren't really quite sure. So about July of last year, I started going through old paperwork that my mother had left at my house in Texas. And I started going through it and trying to figure out if there were basically any clues to who my father was. I found my baby book, and I went through that, and there was a man listed in the baby book, but I wasn't quite sure if that was who my father was, because at this point, I think she had like 5 or 6 different names she had given for him. So I reached out to the search angel and I was like, there was this name in my baby book. I don't know if it's really him because of all the lies and everything. Here's his name. And about this time I had done my video on how my mom had lied to me, and I shared it with my search angel. She was like, this is actually quite helpful, thank you. What's the names that you found? This and that. If you remember from my previous video, I also said that I had found some paperwork where the state of Indiana had sued him because my mother had used his name as a placeholder, and I wasn't sure. They sued him for child support, which they will do if they have a name for paternity, and they won't even like verify. It's really messed up because you should verify if somebody's actually somebody's father before you start suing them, but I digress. Anyways, so I gave the name to my search angel, and my search angel was like, that's actually a really good lead. Let's see if he shows up in any of your family trees. And so she started building a family tree specifically for him, and we were having no luck. But we noticed on one of the trees that she had started that we kind of dropped because we couldn't find out how this surname fit into anyone else. And she was like, I think there was someone by this name on that tree. So we went and we filled out that tree more, and sure enough, there was someone there with his name, but we couldn't figure out how he fit in to the rest of the group. Like, there was no DNA relatives on this tree. This was just a surname we saw based on one of the surnames listed. It looked like a fairly unique surname, and it was listed as someone's set of surnames on one of what we had supposed would be my father's side of the family's thing. So we didn't even know if we were on the right track. So what we did was we then kept building this tree back until we found a match for the tree we had made with all of the DNA, or 2 out of the 3 DNA relatives on it. At this point, we hadn't connected in the 3rd DNA relative yet. So what we did was we added all of the DNA relatives to the tree we were building back from this person's name that I had come across. And we filled them in, and she was like, I don't know if this is gonna work because through lines are wonky. And if anybody knows what through lines are a tool on Ancestry that if your DNA tree is, if your tree is accurate and you connect your DNA to it, and they can find your other DNA relatives on that tree, it will then give you hints based on that. And it's not considered 100% accurate. It gets wonky, but theoretically, if I show up on that tree listed as his daughter, then it should show all of my other DNA relatives that I had. Now, all I had were extended relatives, I'm talking third cousin and beyond, that had tested, but the hope was that they would still show up. So we did this. We made the tree public because you can only do it if your tree's public. Or at the time it could only be, I don't know if they've made it so it can only happen. I've been back and my through lines are gone, but that's because we made the tree private. So I'm pretty sure because the tree was private, the through lines were no longer there. So I'll probably add this man and then build back on my personal tree that I've been keeping private, just so I can see them again, but not right now. Anyways, the plan was to make the tree public and just to see. So we did, and all the through lines popped up, and every single person who was a DNA relative showed up, which meant we were accurate in what we had done. So I finally had a name for who my biological father was. Unfortunately, here's the twist, because there's always a twist and it's never just straightforward. Unfortunately, my father died the fall after I graduated high school, back in 2003. So I will never get to meet him. Both his parents are dead. His father died a couple years after him, and his mother died in the 90s. So there's no connection with that. And he has a sister and a nephew that I was able to deduce from doing the tree. But her name is very common. And her first name is very common from the era she was born. And her last name is universally common across the country. And it's so common that I should be looking for a man named Mike Johnson. It's not gonna happen. It's just like and I'm not talking about her maiden name. Her maiden name would have been able to me to identify her fairly quickly. It is her married name that I'm having issues with. Now she may be divorced, she may have remarried, I don't know. It's gonna take a long time to unravel this mystery that I've now come upon, because her son's last name is the last name from the marriage where she got the common last name. So finding him is, I don't even know. Finding her may work if she remarried, or I haven't found any divorce stuff, so probably hasn't remarried. She's probably happily married, and I'm happy for her. So finding my aunt is going to be like finding a needle in a haystack, worse than figuring out who my father was, which ironically I didn't think that would be possible, but yes, it is possible to make it harder to even find somebody else. So I may never find her. I do have a name now, so I have to be happy in the ambiguity that is the answer I got. I wish I had a better story to tell you guys, like on the TV shows where they're like, yeah, I figured it out and I found him and I took the test and we went and met the next week. I don't have that. That's not gonna happen. I don't even have the ability to even dream about that, really, because he's dead and his parents are dead. His sister's alive, so maybe one day I'll get to meet her and maybe she'll have an explanation as to why I couldn't meet her brother when he was alive. I don't know. I just kind of have to be okay with that. I'm still practicing radical acceptance, so I'm okay with it today, but radical acceptance is hard, so I may not be okay with it tomorrow. It's been something I've had to work through this past year. I didn't want to share it with the public because I was like, it was hard enough sharing that I had been lied to for years, decades even. So sharing with the public that I unraveled that huge mess and I still don't have real good answers for you. It's kind of frustrating. I had to actually talk to a therapist about it because it was really weighing really heavy on my heart. It was hard to get to the end of the search and nothing. A big old bagel. It was really rough. It was really hard to get through all that and just still have nothing. It was hard to come to terms with the fact that I don't get to be someone's little girl, and that's not going to be my story. It's actually a really rough story to share with you guys, so bear with me. It does make me emotional still, like just thinking about the fact that, you know, everybody's somebody's little girl, and that's just not my story, is rough for me some days. I'm sharing with you guys because I want those that didn't get the reunion when they went out searching for their biological family to know that that's okay. It happens. You're not alone. I want to give you a big virtual hug. Come in. We'll give a hug. High five for those who don't like hugs. Thumbs up for those who can't stand that. But I just want y'all to know that you're not alone. It happens. I just want you guys to know you're not alone. I share this not for anybody to feel bad for me, but to maybe commiserate with me because they're going through it and they don't want to feel alone. Or maybe you just like watching weird people on the internet, and that's okay too, because so do I. Spoiler alert. I know I say that a lot, but I like watching weird people on the internet too, so it's okay. But I just wanted to say, if you got this far, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. All your views, all your thumbs up, all your encouraging comments really make my day. I feel like I'm building a community here with people, and I feel less alone and less by myself, which is awesome. I want to tell you guys, y'all are awesome. Get out there, do the damn thing, because you can do whatever you set your mind to. And don't worry, you're not alone. And that's how I always end these videos. Make good choices, because it's crazy out there and a little scary. I love you guys. Stay safe, because I'm going to try, and I want to know that you guys are too. And I shall see you on the next one. Bye, guys.